This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you are struggling with making Amazon ads work for your brand and you wish there were a better way to simplify this process, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us an evergreen PPC strategy you can implement today to turn your advertising game to the next level. I'm joined today by Noemi, co-founder of Scale Wave. Her unique method focuses on a holistic approach that combines ads with smart data-driven decisions and systems optimization. At Scaleway, Noemi and her team help brands successfully launch, optimize, and scale in the Amazon's competitive marketplace. Welcome, Noemi. How are you doing? Good to have you here.
Gianmarco. Hello. It's a pleasure to be on. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's good to be here as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm very curious to hear about your 5 evergreen strategies. So I know it's a very important topic. It's actually one of the hottest for every episode we have. Anything about PPC, it's what people really are looking for to learn the most because it's such a fast changing world that talking about something being evergreen, it's surprising to me actually, because things are changing so fast and now you're coming up with a strategy that would always work. So I'm very interested in hearing that. So why don't we just start with understanding what are these 5 strategies and why do you think Amazon sellers should be using them?
Sure thing. Thanks for the question. So yeah, right to the point, exactly as you were saying, most of the time what's happening is whenever someone claims that it's evergreen something, it's like, is this real? Can be real, especially in Amazon's marketplace where there's like so many shifts. The reason why I actually put up this framework, you're a systems person, so you might appreciate my thinking method. It was very hard for me, first off, me who started in advertising, to understand what am I doing, because I got bits here, there, and so I thought that is the best way to go about ads. First off, I learned about how to rank things, and that is my way to go. Then I'm like, okay, then what's the next step, And then it came very hard for me to keep what good looks like in our agency, for example. And it was very hard also for me to, how do I teach my team how to think like a strategist rather than someone who's just going to implement the tidbits here and there. So this is how I put together the 5 Amazon evergreen strategies that we're going to talk today about. And basically, these are things that are there all the time. Advertisers, maybe they don't do such a good job on explaining that they are going to add all these 5 within whenever they're running your campaigns. But usually any agency that I came across, they would run these. It's just like they're not naming them in a specific way. So that's why I also wanted to have the opportunity to teach your listeners as well how we would think about whenever we are creating a strategy, so we can really systemize whatever is going on. Most important is that whoever is going to be applied to this strategy, the brand owner, is going to understand what is going on within the strategy. So are we ready to go through all 5 strategies?
Of course, yes. I'm very curious to dive in. Just before we start with the first one, I'd like to remind people that in every episode of this podcast, we always share some complementary material. And this time, Noemi was very generous to create a step-by-step guide about our conversation today. So you will even be able to learn much more and with graphs and examples and numbers in this PDF that she created, which you can download it on our website, thesellerprocess.com, or in the description of the YouTube video. All right, so let's dive in. What's the first strategy that we're going to talk about?
First thing. So the first strategy, it is to protect. And what this means, basically, what we would use this strategy for, the purpose behind it is to cover real estate on your own listing. With this strategy, whenever we will implement it first to protect both your brand name, both your branded keywords. And why is this important is because whenever you are launching first your product on Amazon, you might think that your product or your brand, it has zero recognition, which is true. However, that also makes you a very easy target to anyone else, because it's going to be very quick for them to just hop on your listing, make a sale off your listing, which is something that you want to avoid. So we would have this strategy in place whenever it's kind of an insurance policy for us to ensure that someone else is not going to show up either on our branded terms, either on our ASIN, either on the listing itself, just to ensure that we are protected on that end. Basically, when it comes to cost, CPC wise, this can be the cheapest one. Simply because, as I was saying, if you have no brand recognition, people might not even be thinking that you exist, So these are usually the cheapest sales that we can make from our own listing. And also something else to mention here when it comes to targeting method. So targeting method is basically what would you target within a campaign. You can target either keywords. So here, for example, if you're the brand Huggies, of course, Huggies already has a known name, but I'm going to use them since in this case, maybe it's going to make easier or simpler my explanation. Let's say that you're the brand Huggies, you have zero brand recognition, you would start your listing, your listing, it goes live, you would start your advertising campaigns, and you would target the Huggy baby diapers, for example. That would be a branded term. And then the ASIN, your ASIN, if you would target it, that would be an ASIN targeting campaign. Next, when it comes to campaign times, what we can do, we can create sponsor product, sponsor brand video, and sponsor display ads with this ad strategy. And when it comes to ranking dominance, now here I would like to spend just a bit of time to explain you more about when it comes to ranking dominance. Why am I talking about this? And it's usually not talked about, but I do believe that is really important. So as precise you are, more ranking juice you get on Amazon, as you know. So for example, in an exact match campaign, you're going to get more traction, and organically you're going to go higher on the first page if someone is going to buy your listing for your product with that exact search term. Which is why is this important is because ranking dominance, the way how I like to structure it, create this framework for me, is everything that it exact match is going to help you higher to go higher on that, on that scale and get higher on the first page. Whatever it is, phrase, broad, auto, or category targeting, it's more diluted when it's strategy, but it still has a power. It's going to bring up more keywords. The way how I like to use it is ranking. It can be vertical, so it's like up top, or horizontal, which means that you might be bringing up more routes, more keywords, but it's like going to bring constantly just a bit more. So it's going to help you with organic ranking. Does it make sense about the difference between vertical and organic rank?
Yeah,
horizontal
absolutely.
rank?
Absolutely. And yeah, I really agree on the protect strategy, which sometimes other people call defense strategy, right? So but the concept is the same, basically targeting the ASINs and the keywords that are our own brand keywords and ASINs in order to put our ads in places where the competitors' ads might be. So if we are there, competitors cannot be there. So those are mostly used to defend our real estate in the page. Yeah, so totally a very important part of the ad strategy.
Exactly. And as you were saying, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Many people are calling it in their own way. I like to call it this way because then I know how to differentiate myself. And this is also our internal code of whenever we're creating a strategy, how it's called. And it's cool also to just name it your way. So that being said, it's being named in different way, but the purpose is the same. Vertical ranking, horizontal ranking, that was the last thing that we left out. And this campaign type actually has the most power when it comes to both vertical and horizontal ranking because you're targeting something specific. Do you have any more questions, or should we go to the next one?
I think we can go next one. I think this is something clear, the smart use of ads. And what I like to always refer to is that Amazon, it's like a monopoly. So it's a real estate game. You want to conquer as many spots as possible. And definitely that's the strategy to make that happen. So I guess that's clear. Let's move on to the next one. What's that?
Brilliant. So the next one, it is called Conquer. So this is exactly the opposite of protect. Conquer means that you're going to piggyback on poorly optimized or listings that actually you have an advantage over. So this basically what is going to be, you would cover real estate on your competitor's listing. Please keep in mind that this type of ads that we would rank for Conquer, it's going to be just to take advantage of something that someone else is neglecting, So here the ads should be still cheap for us to make a quick sale, And the purpose really is to take advantage over your competitor. If you have a pricing advantage, if you have a rating advantage, if you have a design advantage, if you have, I don't know what, pictures are more beautiful, those would be competitor listings that you would place your product on. So it's really the opposite of the protect. And here, basically, the CPC cost really is going to vary on your targeting match and your ad type. And here, what we're going to do, basically, we're going to target the async target, and also we're going to do a keyword targeting based on branded keywords. For example, if you are the brand Huggies, you would go for the brand, whatever brand is there. For example, Pampers, you would target the brand Pampers. Keep in mind that here I'm giving like brands that are already known. Let's put in mind that right now, let's say that these are not known brands, but just for the sake of making this easy for us, you would advertise on someone else's listing over which you have an advantage. Campaign types, you can create sponsored product, sponsored brand video, and sponsored display ads here. And when it comes to ranking dominance, this is both a vertical and also horizontal ranking, depending on the campaign types that you're going to create. So basically, these two are the first ones that are: one, I'm protecting my own listing; two, I'm taking advantage of someone else's poorly optimized listing so far.
Okay. That's very interesting. I think I'm seeing here a new spin in this strategy. Obviously, like async targeting of our competitors, it's not a new thing, but what I'm hearing to be new, at least to me, but I hear lots of people talking about PPC, that you're specifically talking about targeting the competitors that have a disadvantage against you. So that's, I think, a very smart spin you're giving it, because most of the time it's more like, I think the competitor targeting approach, it's more like a hit or miss type of thing. Everybody normally just target all competitors and whatever it is, and then adjust based on the data that you gather. But you're going one step further, and then you basically your strategy will need to analyze your competitors and only select the ones that have a disadvantage against you, or you have some sort of differentiation that can win against them. So then you're going to specifically target those. So I think that's a smart approach, which I like. Very interesting. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Sure thing. So yeah, exactly as you were saying, it's all about filtering. So this is why we call ourselves that we are data-based rather than let's give it a go and let's spend money until we're finding out. I'm not saying that this is not the right approach. You might need to be testing in order to find out some things, but here clearly the strategy is to get as cheap as possible sales of someone else's disadvantage. And don't feel too bad about this. Your competitors are doing it to you. This is like one of those playground on playing on Amazon. So just letting you know that is completely fine. Absolutely. Are we ready for the third one?
Very interesting. Yes. Let's go to the third one.
So the ranking strategy. This is the third one. And basically what this is about is to ensure number one visibility, page number one visibility with exact match campaigns. And here, if you hear many advertisers, they are avid on ranking campaigns. And basically what they are saying is that you should have exact match of the keywords that you want to go for, because that is going to guarantee you the highest chance to rank as quick as possible on the first page, which I am agree with. Something that I also noticed, especially within the last 2 years when it comes to advertisers using this campaign, they are preaching it, but they're not teaching it. And as something that I want to make here a point, while this might be one of the most effective or most lucrative when it comes to getting you as close as possible to the first page, this is going to be really costly or okay with cost. It depends really on the category that you are going for. So CPC costs really can vary on different facts. If the keywords are costing very much, probably you're going to pay a lot. If the keywords are not so competitive, probably you're not going to pay so much. But why is this also important is that when it comes to targeting methods, you can target exactly like the exact keywords in an exact match, and also you can target asyncs from your competitors. And when it comes to this, usually what we've seen so far is, again, just talking about it and without explaining. Sponsored product ads, actually, that is the bulk or the chunk of most advertisers. They don't understand why they would use this sponsored product type of campaigns for this particular ranking campaigns. What we've seen on our end is that we actually ran a test, and in exact match, we ranked one keyword in sponsored product, one keyword in sponsored brand, actually video ads. What we've seen, especially lately, is that sponsored product is going to perform way better because it has a higher ranking power rather than sponsored brand ads, especially video ads. Why is it? It's because I'm not sure if you lately pulled a search term report. Whenever you're going to do that and you're running sponsored brand or sponsored brand video ads, actually, even in exact match, the terms that you're coming up from, they're not exact. They're maybe synonyms, maybe in other way how you would describe an item. And this is like a good trigger for also for your listeners to pay attention, maybe go stop the episode if it's needed, go pull your search term reports and see this difference, because it's going to be very helpful for you to understand whenever you are going to create ranking campaigns, which are going to help you to boost organically for that specific keyword. It's really important to understand what campaign type to use, because you might be doing just the right thing. It's just you're not using the right vehicles to get that.
In that case, before we go ahead, in that case, would you negate the other synonyms or other words that the exact match campaign is targeting? Or would you just leave it like that because anyway it's contributing to adding ranking?
Sure. So see, so that is the tough thing, because once that you're going to negate something, actually you're not going to show off also for the synonym. This is what we've seen so far. So in our strategy, we tried also negating it, but we tried also like lowering the bid, and really, honestly, it depends on products. It's not anymore. This is how Amazon works. This is like for one product it worked, for the other one it didn't. So what I would recommend here, just test on a small group of campaign, and ideally on the one that is the worst performing, not the one that is best performing. So if you have two campaigns, one has, let's say, 40% ACoS, your target ACoS is 50%. So it makes sense. It makes sales. Don't try it on that one. Try it on something that wherever you would have 100% ACoS, your target is still like 50% ACoS. Try it on that one first and see if it works for you. And if it does, do apply it like sparingly, add one keyword, two keywords, and so on, and see how it works. Because what we want to avoid is cutting down sales that are profitable. Did that answer your question?
Yes, of course. Yes. Did you want to add anything else about the rank campaign or the rank strategy? Or
the only thing that just the only thing, because we were talking about ranking vertical and horizontal. So when it comes to ranking power, this has a vertical ranking. So this is going to really assure you that if you want to rank for one specific keyword, and hear me out, Gianmarco, something crazy, even if you would get a click for that keyword and someone is adding it to their cart, it's going to boost your ranking, which is like right now I'm actually testing on the backend to see like what is going on. The way how we found it out, actually we paid a lot, like $20-$30 for one click. It did not convert it yet. It boosted organically for, it was a keyword on around 1,000 search volume, 2,000 search volume, something like that. And I was like, okay, so what is going on here? Just proof to let you know that actually if you're ranking for something specific, it's going to help, even if someone is not going to purchase, but only add it to the cart. I'm not saying this is a lucrative strategy. I'm just saying it works. Now let's hope that is making sales for you. Okay, that's all. We can move into the next strategy.
Yes, okay.
So the next strategy is to dominate. And here actually is this strategy, what we would use it for, the purpose is top of search visibility, and we would use really to dominate search results. The CPC cost here is the highest, simply because let's say you have a keyword that you're very well ranking for and it's bringing you most of your sales. What you want to do is similar as if in your category you own market share. Imagine that for this keyword, you're owning market share, right? So you would want to show up for that keyword all the time. So that is one use case. The second use case actually can be similar to a conquer strategy. Here, let's say we're going to go aggressively to gain market share from someone else. Keep in mind, huge caveat here, you must already have data that this works. If this didn't work in the past 30 days, and if you made no sales from whatever competitor that you want to go for, don't try this out because it's going to be very expensive. So this is the counterbalance between the conquer strategy and the dominate strategy, because you were talking about, hey, no one really talks about be as filtered as possible, because then you're going to save as much money on the correct data here. With the dominate, we need to have the correct data. Otherwise, we're going to spend money. As we were talking about CPC cost, this is really the most expensive. Targeting method can be either keyword targeting, either async targeting, and campaign types can be sponsored product, sponsored brand video, and sponsored display. And ranking dominance also, it's vertical because this is very exact. I want to show up for that keyword and I'm willing to pay as high as possible because I know that it's keeping me on the first page. I'm ranking for it and I'm also generating organic sales. So this is on steroids of protect strategy on steroids. Even if you're not going to use maybe your own branded terms, you can use your own branded terms, but the idea is that you must have previous data that is going to support whatever you're doing. Otherwise, it's just like not a dominant strategy, it's like you don't know what you're doing and you're going to pay a lot of money. And this is where I see that many sellers are just not really getting it because they are taught on, hey, let's rank this keyword because it makes sense. And then they're going to go in the dominate stage where they're going to show up on the first page and, oh my gosh, this cost me so much and I didn't get anything. So that's why it's really important to understand that the dominate and conquer, while they might be the same or seemingly the same, for the conquer is very low risk. For the dominate, you really need to know based on previous data that this works for you, and you're just really ensuring that this is like a huge protection on whatever is going on for that specific keyword or ASIN or whatever you would target. Does it make sense, the difference between the two? And
Absolutely.
does this
Yeah,
simplifies?
absolutely. Yeah. So I totally get it. Yes. So it's also, it's like the saying, the best defense is to attack, right? So in this case, I like that you bring up also another metric that most people are not really tracking or using, which is the market share. And which is something that I really would suggest everybody to track. It's something I am working with my team right now to create a new tracker just for understanding our position in the market, because as soon as you become a more established brand, you care about keeping that dominance. And so campaigns like these ones that you mentioned are used exactly for this purpose, to maintain your dominant level on top of search. So it's not about anymore like being profitable necessarily, but it's more like about keeping your brand at the top of mind for people. Just always be on top because you want to be seen as the best brand in that niche. So totally agree with this strategy. For some people might see this as costly, as you said, but I would also encourage people to look at the power that this can drive in the long term. So then it will be about calculating the lifetime value of the customer and understanding what's the repeat purchase rate, so that you understand that even if you're losing money on one order, you're actually gaining back in the long term from thanks to the loyalty that you get from these customers. So yes, very, very interesting.
Love it. Love it. And also, just as you were talking, I think that one of the things that most people are not really realizing, and based on what you were saying, I really like the fact that you were saying you understand what goes behind the dominate strategy. Let's put it this way. I am very loss averse, therefore I like to have a healthy panic going on because that is keeping us alive. And what I'm seeing, most people are not using dominate campaigns or dominate strategy for keywords that are already working well for them. And what is going to happen is, let's say the brand has the purpose of, let's go for profitability, and they're going to actually cut from keywords that are bringing up sales. So they might have like rank number 5 organically just because this keyword actually converted for them. And then they are going to cut down on the bid. They're going to make their bid smaller and smaller, and they are going to lose dominance of that particular keyword where they ranked 5. Now maybe they're ranking 10, 15, and so on. And the competition are going to take up that keyword. And this is actually, when it comes again from the healthy panic mode, is like always keep the keywords that are working best for you very close to you, because those are the ones that you should not be touching, only like very carefully, because you don't know what we know with our 10,000 hours of investing in it, to be honest, because I didn't know. I cut a lot of mistakes. Like everything what I am teaching here, Gianmarco, is my own mistakes. I'm learning, I'm saving you a lot of money. I did all this just because I didn't understood. I didn't have the framework. So when we're talking about dominate, it's not only of not being able to see through, like, this is next level, this is to keep market share, but also not being able to see what is the outcome if I'm going to lose this. What is the next step? Actually, the pay is going to be way, way higher if I'm not going to ensure that I have a clear vision of these are the keywords. I must keep track of those keywords. So I love the addition there. Are we ready for the fifth one?
Awesome. Yes, we're ready for the fifth one. What's the fifth one?
Brilliant. So this is Discover, and this is way back, I think, whenever Amazon just started advertising, they were like very proud of this one. And this is basically Discover campaigns, which is the purpose is to discover new search terms or new keywords that would work really well for your brand and you're making sales. So auto campaigns, broad match, raise match, category even are considered discovery campaigns. And here really want to use it at any stage of your campaign. Some people, especially nowadays, they're saying that you should not be using it when you're launching first time your product during product launches phases. I would disagree with that. I do believe that you would still need to be running this type of campaigns, even auto campaigns, just to understand what does Amazon thinks of your product. So having a healthy check of, all right, I'm already running my ranking campaigns. Maybe I'm running my product campaigns. Maybe I have some of Conquer campaigns. Some of Discover campaigns might take 10 to 20% of your budget, but these are still good for you. So one, you understand through the auto campaigns, what does Amazon thinks about your product? Where do they classify you? Two, usually broad match and phrase match are going to bring in more sales than exact matches. So CPC cost here, while this seems to be the cheapest one, many people are advocating for this one. Actually, this can become the most costly just because these require for you to do an extra prep. So as we were saying about for conquering campaign, we're doing our filtering. For discovery campaign, what we would ensure that it has as much control as possible. So for example, for auto campaigns, we would ensure that right now, if you're going to start your auto campaign, it's coming with 4 sub-ad groups, the close match, loose match, substitutes, and then complements. So what we would do is we would segment them all 4. So it's going to be 4 campaigns rather than 1 campaign, and each 4 would be its own. They're going to have their own purpose. So then you can get as much control as possible. So this is the first filter. The second filter is going to be look up all the keywords that might be not relevant to your product. So for example, we were giving the example of Huggies. Let's keep it at it. We were giving the example of baby diaper. Baby. The word baby can trigger so many other things. And it's going to be very important for you to put a list together that are going to be your negatives. So each time when something else is coming up besides baby that is not diaper, you would negate that because you don't want to show up for that specific keyword. And if you already have data that literally shoppers are typing on Amazon and you clearly know that your product it's not that, why not put up your negative list, either negative targets when it comes to products that are not a match for you, either negative keywords. And the way how we would have as much control as possible over these campaigns, because these can go really wild, really fast, just because you think that they are cheap and they're not, because they are consuming the 1,000 cuts, or how do you call them, that is going to bleed money. So what we would do for this, we would actually prepare. We would look into, let's put together at least 5 to 10 terms that for sure it's not our product. Maybe your product has 2 terms, 3 terms, but at least you have those on as like safety net to what you don't want to show up your product for. And really here, what it comes down to, being very knowledgeable to how to negate when are you going to start these campaigns, because otherwise you might think that they are going to work well when actually they're going to be costly. Second takeaway here, when I'm seeing whenever people are or brand owners, they're just starting their ads and creating these campaigns, Gianmarco, this is the one campaign type that most people are lying with data when it comes to that, because this can become the cheapest. Remember, if at the beginning we're talking about protect campaigns, and with these discover campaigns, actually, whenever you're going to create, let's say, an auto, broad phrase, whatever, what you might be getting is actually within those campaigns your own brand name. So technically, what you're triggering a lot of sales for your own brand name. But the data for this type of campaigns might be, look, I started this auto campaign, it's super cheap and it's like 5% ACOS. And people might be facing the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is they don't know how little they know just because they are not prepared for it. So here, what I would say is, if you want to run these keywords, like this type of campaigns, this type of strategy, do ensure that you also have a list where you're negating your branded terms. in case you don't want to show up for that, because that is going to alter your data. So technically, while you might be getting very cheap sales, but you might be doing actually running brand defense campaigns in your discover campaigns. Does it make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. I love this framework. I'll tell you why, because I think it's foundational, right? This is something that all accounts needs to include, right? It's something foundational. And I believe now one of the problem with lots of accounts is that the hacks are becoming popular and everybody's looking for hacks and tricks, shortcuts. Everybody wants the shortcuts to make money. But the problem is that then they're looking for these shortcuts and they're neglecting the fundamentals. So what we're talking here essentially is the fundamentals. So now I have very clear why this is an evergreen PPC strategy, and I can really support this to continue to be an evergreen strategy. I mean, I believe even if things will continue to change as they are now for the next 5-10 years, if Amazon will still be around, we'll still have these 5 types of campaigns. This is like a very basic structure of a PPC account setup. So yeah,
Exactly.
I'm very glad that you're sharing this. So
Yes, sure.
guys, I remind you again to go download this PDF where we will see everything that we're talking about here. You will find it in the website, thesellerprocess.com, or in the description of the YouTube video. So before we close, I have one last question which is curious to know, since you've spent so much time working with clients, what do you think is the number one mistake people make in creating their PPC strategy?
Sure. So I believe really the Dunning-Kruger effect, and this is basically a bias. And what this means is that it's going to occur whenever people with low ability, experience, or knowledge in a certain area, they are overestimating their competence. And here, I'm not judging, I had this. And basically what is happening is that more success you have, better you think, or more you think that you know what you know, until it comes down to troubleshooting. And boy, oh boy, 90% of our time we're spending with troubleshooting. Why? Is because that is where you're learning. Only once that you broke it, you understand how to fix it, put it back. And why I believe that this is so important and so crucial, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that brands should not start doing ads. I do, like right now in 2024, I do believe that without ads, honestly, there's a very low chance of survival, unless if you have a lot of external traffic, again, by ads or your own websites or so on. But what I'm seeing so far is really the one thing that most sellers are making whenever it comes to advertising is that they believe that they know what they're doing until you cannot replicate whatever you're doing, you're not knowing what you're doing. And I do believe that this is a very crucial takeaway. And here, what I would like to encourage you, don't go to the next agency and so on. No, stop and look at how do I apply the Dunning-Kruger effect within my campaigns? Which are the things that I know? Do I know the basics? Do I know the fundamentals? Listen to this episode, learn this episode, because this is like free information to something that we would apply to high-level accounts. So understanding all that, understand the basic, understand the fundamentals. So one, if you want to run your ads, go on, and now you would have the knowledge base on how to run it properly. Two, whenever you would hire an agency, ask them all these questions, because you know what this shows? It shows that you really don't care about your freaking ads, that they're being run by someone who understands, and you're speaking the same language. The end goal is partnership. So if you're not able to have partnership with yourself on understanding, hey, I'm the best one to do this, and I know why I'm doing, I know how to replicate things, either you would outsource this in-house. You were talking about, Gianmarco, on your in-house team and so on. That's great, because then you have the same language on which are the things that we're applying right now, which are the things that we're not applying, which are the things that we should not apply at all. So this can go a bit long, but I do believe that there is a reason why I want to really point this out is, again, as I was saying, everything what I'm teaching right now is based on my 10,000 hours of mistakes. I learned, I'm teaching them now, because I really don't want people to do my own mistakes. Does it make sense? And this was the one thing that is like, I think it really hit hardcore when it comes to what you don't know what you don't know. Makes sense?
Love it. I really love it. To be honest, this was the first time I've heard about this bias. It's very interesting. So I'm going to look it up and learn more about that. So thank you for sharing that. I've learned one more
My
thing
absolute
besides what you already shared. So yeah, you guys can really tell from this conversation that Noemi knows what she's talking about. She's a very smart girl. So Noemi, thank you for sharing this. Obviously, people can take this home and start implementing it if they wanted to, but there is also lots of hours to be put into running something like this properly. How can you help them in case they would like your help, and how can they reach out?
Sure thing. So I do believe, I'm not sure, Gianmarco, please correct me if I'm wrong. I shared a pair of slides with you, and I do believe that on the last page, there's still a QR code with whoever wants to get in touch, they can get in touch, and we can also offer a free audit for their account. That is still applicable for this episode, would be more than happy. Truly, my end goal is that I can offer as much value as possible. If we're a good fit, great. If we're not a good fit, I want to leave you knowing that you learned something, because my end goal is that you learn and you understand, because Amazon is freaking like, I'm not seeing it as our competition, Amazon, but they are self-serving and we should be knowing that. So that is one way of reaching me out. This also highly encourages your listeners to go and download the quick booklet, because that is like important information there. Second way how people can reach out, actually, look me up on LinkedIn. I am really active. I'm posting on a daily basis. I'm posting tidbits of whatever you are hearing here right now. And the way how you would find me, really go to LinkedIn and then search my name. It's Noemibolojan. That's once again Noemibolojan. And I will be the first person that is going to pop up, say hello, write a message, say that, hey, I was listening to this amazing podcast and I really find value. Want to befriend me? I will for sure accept your friend request. That is the best opener, by the way.
That's fantastic. Yes. Thank you very much. And I do confirm that at the end of the PDF you're sharing, there is your QR code, your website, so you guys can find her at scalewave.io and on LinkedIn. So all the contacts will be in this PDF. So you can download it from our website, thesellerprocess.com, or in the YouTube video description. Okay, so you have lots of ways to get in touch with Noemi. So Noemi, thank you very much again for your talk. It was very informative, and I believe that lots of people got lots of value, because as we said, this is foundational. So thank you very much. So I really encourage people to do this first, learn this very well first, and then only after you master this type of content, then you can go look at hacks and tactics. But if you don't do this well, nothing else will matter. Yeah. So thank you again, Noemi.
My pleasure. Gianmarco, you mentioned it twice, and like I'm just on the edge of my chair, because you just mentioned something that I'm always like a big teacher of. If your skill is limited to the latest trick you learn, you'll soon become obsolete when the next trick is discovered, And this is something that we want to avoid. We want to learn first basics, fundamentals, because then you can have a strategy. A house, if it doesn't have strong foundations, does not matter how fancy house it is going to break on. So just to add that there, because this is actually something that I'm also like always talking about, and you are the first person talking about tricks and tips, and like we are sharing the same mindset. So just kudos to you for that.
Love it. Thank you again for joining, Noemi. So guys, remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. Take home the insights that Noemi just shared with you today. Go download the complimentary PDF that you will find in our website and YouTube video description, and start implementing it today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content of this podcast today. And I wish you have a productive week, and I'll see you in the next episodes. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes, and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.